Oh, my mouse, you suck. I need a new mouse. It's so bad.
You heard him, fans. Get Jared a new now. Subscribe to Patreon. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Nights at the Nerd Table. I am one of your hosts for the evening. We typically do our best to fill you in on all the recent nerd news and all the next nerdy things that may be happening soon, or lately we were just getting around and talking about some of our favorite nerdy stuff, which is what tonight's episode is about. Now, I'm Nate Porter, and normally this is the part where I say I'm joined by two fabulous individuals. Well, unfortunately, Mason failed his final death saving throw, and he's gone for... No, I'm just kidding. He just can't join us tonight, so it's myself, Mr. Nate, and I'm also joined by Mr. Jared Clark here.
What's going on, guys? Dude, I'm excited about tonight. It's gonna be a good episode. What we talked about, I think I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Nathan, what's some nerdy you did this week?
Something nerdy I did this week. So it's Thursday, so it still counts. So last Friday, I swung through the pre-release event draft. It was a lot of fun. I'm just gonna say, go do drafts, people. It's like you just need to go do drafts. And here's why, because you're going to want to buy and crack packs anyway, right? So sometimes in draft, you pick the valuable cards that might help you win that day. Other times, you just value draft Entomb and Vampiric Tutor, which is what I did on the weekend. So my $30 entry fee was already paid for.
Just casually.
And I didn't draft...
Just casually.
Just trash. I managed to... 2-drop borderline white lion tribal my way into going 2-1, and prize packed a little card called Mystic Remora, which is solid, and Mystical Tutor. So what can I say?
Holy
I did great,
dude. Your
packs.
pack luck is nuts.
It was great that day. It was.
I need to come to GR and open packs with you because there's cards I need.
For real.
But I don't want to spend $60 on them.
It's totally fair. And that's exactly what the Vampiric Tutor is. It wasn't foil, but it was full art extended, so that's like $60. So I'll take it.
Right.
At the time of recording this podcast, cannot sell it on TCG Player because the set isn't fully out yet. But probably might sell it. Try to stay ahead of the game. I might keep it. We'll see. But that's the nerdy thing I did this week. Mr. Jared, what's the nerdy thing you did this week?
A couple things I did this week. Last night I got a 12 kill game on Fortnite.
Oh, let's go.
The kill headshots with a bow. I was, as the kids say, cracked out of my mind. And then I think the other nerdy thing I did was a few nights ago. I'd hate to bring this pod Porter, but I feel like I have to. When I copied Mimir setting a worm 5 times on you, and just had, I took pictures of it, but I had 5 copies of Balefire Dragon on the battlefield, 2 copies of Thrakis on the battlefield, and Kiga. And I did the math. That's over 300 points of damage on a swing.
So I will be looking for 2 new podcast hosts, if anyone out there. No, it was demoralizing. I just looked at my room. I had cards. I had removal.
You had cards.
I could not. There was just no way. I was bouncing tokens. Yeah. I was blowing up dragons. I was blowing up sources and copies, but I could not keep up with the copy pan-harmonic double copy nonsense that was just happening. Oh, what a cracked game. I got annihilated. I'll admit that. You play cards to play. You play Commander. You play Magic to play Magic.
Right.
If you play to just win, you might be sorely mistaken. If you're a VOD listener, and I'm always looking over here, if you're a VOD fan, it's because my screen and my notes are actually off to the side this evening. So I'm not just looking at. There's not a room of viewers, although maybe someday. But for now, that's just where my notes are over there for my audio only people. I'm pointing.
Right.
Yeah.
Let it be known. He's pointing at me on the screen.
On your screen. On my screen.
On my screen. That's true. I'm vertical.
I'm literally cool.
Also, to be fair, to give you the benefit of the doubt with that commander game, you were using a fairly new deck. The deck was sweet. It was Orzhov. It was really cool,
Yeah.
really good legendary tribal kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun to watch and play against. But my Miriam Worm deck is like my top tier deck. I invest a lot of time and money into that deck, and so it's my pet deck.
Yeah, that's a great
So
stupid pet deck to have, but all of those are the nerdiest things that we did this week. We wanted to dedicate an entire episode to talking about some of the most fun and awesome nerdy things we did this year. Now, we do our talk show just a slightly bit different than maybe other people do, and we actually don't always know who's going to talk about what. So at the top of every episode, we roll initiative to see who gets to talk about things first. Now, our bonuses, our proficiencies, these are based on how you, the people, interact with us. So, for instance,
True.
YouTube is a nice little thing. We like to, we're on YouTube, obviously. We're on Spotify, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're not on Facebook because who is? And we are on Patreon. So out of those things, here's what has happened. We have gotten one new YouTube subscriber, so that would be a +1 to Mason's role, but he's not here. We have gotten 2 new Twitter followers. However, I do believe that they are spam accounts for what one might call a lady of the evening, so they don't count and they're blocked. And
hey, you hate to see it.
I mean, you could give them the benefit of the doubt and say like maybe they're nerds, but I'm really not thinking.
What if
that
they're
they
classified as mind flayers?
2 mind flayers on Twitter and 1 authentic 2 new followers on Instagram. So with that,
Let's
say we
go.
split it down the middle. You get a +2 to your rule. I get a +2 to my role. And now we roll initiative. How's that?
Okay.
All right. So you
I'm
got a
down with it.
+2.
I got my Baldur's Gate dice here, so
I got
ready to
my
rock.
Chessex
that's
D20
so pretty
for
looking.
my character Bart the Turtle. But
Bart is a sick character. I will say that. Oh, I got a 7.
I got
a 7.
I no cap with my I rolled an 8 and +2 is a 10.
Okay, you're good. I rolled 5 + 2, 7.
So with that, we both rolled
go ahead.
terribly.
Hit me with it.
I will hit you. So here is some of the best of our 2022. I got to start with Star Wars Andor. I have loved that series. It is a pace
so
that
good.
is like a Born Supremacy, Born Identity type. It's not a pace that's like Kenobi was amazing. Don't get me wrong, but just because of how different Andor was, it was easily one of my most favorite nerdy things this year. You do start with a little bit of conspiracy, Born type, and then guess what? Try not to spoil it, but you move into like Prison Break, and it's like
it's crazy.
that element. And it's super fun, and I super enjoyed it. Not a lightsaber in sight, the whole series basically.
So good.
So write me a story, make me love it. To me, this is my hot take. It's the best live action content from Star Wars we've gotten since Rogue One, also including Cassian Andor. So maybe he's the guy. I don't know. Maybe that's too hot of a take, too spicy, but that I stand by it.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
it.
To be honest with you,
That's why
I have no qualms with that statement.
I just love it.
Spectacularly wise, 6, 7, and 8 were in 9, right?
Yep.
No, 6, 7, and 8 in 9. Am I off?
6, 4,
There's just
4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. Okay, so here's the deal. 7, 8, 9, right? Spectacularly were amazing. Writing wise, terrible, right? They're a beautiful thing to watch, right?
Sure.
But writing, spectacularly, character progression, storytelling, scenery, Andor has it all. When it doesn't have a single lightsaber or a lightsaber fight in the whole show, and it's just a beautiful show. If you haven't watched it yet, please watch it.
Yep.
It'll change you. It'll change the way it starts slow. Like you said, the Born Identity starts a little slow, but out of nowhere, it just skyrockets, gets your blood pressure up there. It's phenomenal.
Yep. I loved it. But that's my number. That's I wouldn't say it's my number one, but it's one of my top three. So I will now
Okay,
pass the turn.
good. I was going to use a counter spell, but I'm not. I'll wait. I'll wait. I have one. I'm just saying I have it in my hand.
Bring
I have
it.
a blue mana untapped, just so you're aware. I would say for 2022, one of my favorite things, and I was resistant to it for a very long time, was Commander.
Ooh,
Uh,
what a good take.
I
Go on.
I is I so Commander has been around forever. I've played it before, and I used to hate it. I thought it was super slow. It turns out it was my old play group. My old play group was pretty aggressive, pretty competitive, and it wasn't fun. But you got to find the right play group. But it is, I mean, coming from somebody who played standard PTQs and things like that, and Friday Night Magics, and played Modern and things like that competitively, it was pretty spiky back in the day.
Yep.
Commander's been phenomenal. It has been a breath of fresh air. I now own over 9 Commander decks.
That's such a drastic swing. Respect it.
It is such a huge string. 9 that I've built, I have 4 or 5 that are pre-cons. I have all 4 of the Warhammer 40K Commander decks in my collection, but that's just because I'm an external Warhammer fan. I've never played it, nor will I invest in it because I will have no money. But
Sure.
I
Hey,
just
Magic
love
is
the
expensive.
lore, and it's expensive, and the lore and everything around it. I have too much money invested in a lot of hobbies,
Oh,
but
hold
I
on.
would say
Just
Commander
kidding. Just
for
kidding,
sure.
honey. Just kidding, honey. Magic's not expensive at all. Yeah.
Hey, don't worry about it. No, but like honestly, it's been fun. I've loved it. I've loved the challenge of it. I love the relaxed nature of it and the
Yeah.
camaraderie it builds. And I think it's really healthy for the format and for Magic in itself. So yeah,
Uh,
that'd be my number one.
I agree.
Uh, what do you? It's not my number one. I would say it's one of my top 3.
Yeah.
I do have 4. You know what? I'm gonna.
You take
As I'm
an
playing,
extra
Is It
turn after
Drake's?
this one?
I'm gonna take an extra turn. I'm gonna
You
cast Elren's Epiphany,
rascal.
and I am. I'm gonna top that with finding EDH Rec
Oh.
because it's along the same lines. I never knew about it. Never knew about it in my entire time as being a Magic fan, and it has been the most visited website this year. Like my Google Analytics is like, it is just EDH Rec, EDH Rec, EDH Rec,
What
EDH
is
Rec.
that?
It
What is
is
that website? What's it do?
so. If you don't know, if you're a Commander player and you're like, well, I just have precons, but I'm really looking to build my own deck, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what resources to use. The one website you need to go to is EDH Rec. It literally will break. You can write down any commander. Like I have right here. I have Wilson Refined Grizzly. Okay. I opened 3 different copies and 3 different booster packs today. All right. But you can go look. You can type in Will Refined Grizzly in your search bar, EDH Rec, and it'll give you like almost a deck build, but it won't give you the exact. That'll give you cards,
Sure.
but not like an exact 100 cards. You can select, hey, what are average decks, or what's the average deck? Click on it, it'll give you a deck list, or it'll give you, hey, it'll give you percentage cards. Okay, we'll call them that. So it'll say like, oh, this card is in 50% of decks, this card's in 40% of decks, kind of a thing. You can even select cheap cards. Like I don't want to spend a ton of money, so I'm looking for cheap cards or expensive cards. You can even look if you're like, I don't know where to build. You can just type in. You can look in top commanders or commanders in certain color coordinations or whatever. It gives you background pairings. It gives you partner pairings. It does literally everything, and it has streamlined my way of building decks. So if you're a commander player and you're looking for a phenomenal one-stop shop resource, EDH Rec. It also has pricings underneath each card, and it gives you a direct link to either like TCG Player, Card Kingdom, or MTG Mint Card or CoolStuff.com with those prices for that card.
That's great.
Just, I'm just saying,
The tools
it just
exist.
changed my life.
The tools exist.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Right.
That's a good one.
My bank account, my wife are mad at, but
Fair.
I'm happy, So that's 2 of mine. I'll let you go. This one.
All right. I will start my turn appropriately with my second one and just say fire. consuming fire. No, that's listen, the Calamity series that Critical Role did.
So good.
They graciously let Brennan Lee Mulligan DM that series. I lost sleep over that series, like staying up too late. I was just locked in.
Yep.
It's a one shot, but I think it's over 4 episodes.
4 episodes. Yep.
It was so good. The storytelling, the character development, felt like All-Star Weekend for D&D.
It's so
like
true.
NBA All-Star Weekend.
Holy cow.
I mean, Brendan.
That's a phenomenal
absolutely.
correlation.
When I think his sweet spot is get on the train and ride. But Abrea, Louis Carrazzo, Marisha Ray, Sam Riegel, Travis, Lou Wilson, like some staple names, and like Lou Wilson also, he's like, to me, one of the most fun, undervalued and underappreciated like role playing D&D people.
Couldn't agree more.
Listening to him play some stuff even with NADPod, that's NADD pod, so fun. He's a great storyteller. He's funny when he needs to be, when it's of time to be funny, and he goes in when it's not. Just so fun. I love you, Lou Wilson. Tweet at me if you wanna. If you're ever in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and want me to buy you, I don't know, a Wahlburger, Mark Wahlburger.
A Wahlburger?
Dude, I don't care. You name it, I'll buy you food.
If you want to come and hang out on our podcast for like 20 minutes, and just
20
give us
seconds,
like 5 minutes to just
20
say hi.
seconds would be great, even. But
It'd be
absolutely loved that series. That the storytelling, it is set in Matt Mercer's world. It's set in that
Tal'Dorei
environment, and the Calamity basically is in lore. They're playing out the lore of prime deities versus betrayer gods at the end of an Age of Arcanum, which is all lore that Matt Mercer is like floating around his head, and they get to flush it out. Which is cool because they have an end goal, right? They have a place the train is going to stop, which makes it fun and keeps it from being just like an open-ended, like, oh, we didn't do anything we were supposed to do or whatever. Everyone goes in on their character. Everyone has a lot of fun playing D&D, but the storytelling, 10 out of 10. Almost a miss of them now just saying, like, we need to make this a screenplay and make this a movie or something like that. But absolutely, to me, I think it says a lot that is in my top 3 of, like, the best nerdy things this year that I experienced.
Yeah.
Easily, the Critical Role content, the Calamity. Wow.
Right.
Just wow. That's I mean, you really can't put a cherry on that other than that, and that's literally like I pop off and pass my turn. That's basically just what I do.
There it is. I love it. Honestly, like agree more on Calamity. It your connection between NBA All-Star Weekend and the Calamity series is 100% true.
Yep.
Brennan Lee Mulligan was like, yeah, build broken characters, and like I just am like, I've talked about this before. I'm a paladin main, and the paladin in that show just was so evocative and emotional, and just was so stinking good. It put a sweet, cool light onto paladin players, right? That you can be this emotional person and not this wannabe cop, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it just was really cool. So I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna keep along the same lines of you when it comes to D&D.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually podcast
holding priority before it resolves.
Oh no!
No! Just because I just thought of this thing and that this
yeah, you're good. Do you think
that is not going to be everyone's table?
That's so true.
My table is not that dramatic. They're not that emotional. We're not voice actors or regular actors. Where our professional bread and butter is to be that emotional. Just the other day, literally Tuesday, my party is going to try to perform a heist. We decided it would be better because we know something's going to go wrong. Let's hire a B team at the local bar to go in ahead of us and try to perform the heist so the DM's traps all get sprung on them and not us. And that is our level of D&D. We are not going to literally sob and cry on camera real emotional tears. That's not
Right.
us. That's not every table. So if you haven't
Right.
checked out D&D and you look at that like, wow, D&D is amazing. You're not wrong. D&D is amazing, but that's probably
Yes.
not going to be your table experience. Just that was my side
Right.
note.
Oh, you
Just
could, and you definitely
could,
could. I will say this: you
for sure.
definitely can have that
I've
experience,
cried
and it
before.
just depends on how your table. It depends on your play group, and don't. I would say this: don't press that upon your play group. Be
Or
gracious with
your
your play
DM.
group.
Or your DM.
That in your DM, like seriously, it's yeah. So speaking of my D&D choice, it is this podcast I talk about all the time on our podcast. It is Dungeons and Daddies.
Mm.
Like, if you're looking for just soul touching, joy giving, life giving, and just like it is so good. They have refined, in my opinion, the easily digestible D&D podcast because each episode is an hour and 20, hour and a half kind of a thing. And they are four or no, there's five of them, the DM, and then there's four, and they're all story writers. They're all screenwriters. And so they understand character building, they understand story, and they understand and it's hilarious. I've cried, I've laughed, I've giggled. I'm on my third listen through this year.
Oh, wow.
And I followed them on Patreon because I was like, I need to support these guys. Um, I cannot recommend them enough. Freddie Wong is in it. He's one of the guys. If you've watched YouTube any amount of time, Freddie Wong is in it. Anthony Birch is the DM. He is one of the main story writers for God of War Ragnarok, for Borderlands 2. So he's writing the story for this and they're on campaign 2 already. And it's just so dudes. It's so good. It's four dads flung into the Forgotten Realms trying to find their sons, kind of a thing, and they just nail it. They nail it. They nail it. They nail it.
Yep.
And I mean, there's been times listening to that podcast where I've just started laughing as I have my headphones in, and customers have looked at me like, "He's insane," kind of a thing, or I've just started crying while slicing meat.
It's just so beautiful.
It's just so sad. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
So please, please, please give them a listen. They're on Spotify. They're on YouTube. They're awesome dudes. So give them a listen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna hold priority for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
For a second. Because if we're just holding priority now or whatever it is, no, I'm kidding.
Just doing whatever you want.
I will say this, I love Calamity and I love Dungeons and Daddies and things like that. And I think when it comes to 2022, I think in 2021 was like the year of like D&D podcasts. You know, they exploded, and there's something out there for everybody. Like, give the show a chance. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
Don't give shows chances. Like, I mean, obviously they're not like full on Disney productions kind of a thing, like a Critical Role thing where they've got these massive productions.
Critical Role is
earned
pretty
every
much like
friggin' they've earned every single inch of that production, right? But then there's other guys out there, the Judges and Daddies, which are just jank and they're hilarious. Or like you look at like the McElroy brothers, like who are just doing crazy things, and Dimension 20, and so there's a lot of stuff out there. I would suggest like during your day, listen to the podcast, escape for a little bit, get outside of your head, you know? So
Agree.
that is, then I'll pass turn on that.
Perfect. I'm going to my third big thing, and I got to go right to the heart on this one, right to the heartstrings. I got married in 2022. 2022 was a good year for me. And part of this leaks into 2021 towards the end again. For Christmas, 2021, my, at the time, new girlfriend, Megan, we were dating for like a month and a half, maybe 2 months when we were ready to get to like Christmas season, right? So you're on that, like, what do I get? Like Christmas, how hard do I go? It's kind of like that weird, awkward, like I got to get him something. I can't get him nothing. So I did pretty good. Like there's a couple of board games that she'd like, and I knew she would like that, and then maybe like a gift card to like some of her favorite places, like get fries, waffle fries, Chick-fil-A, all that good stuff. And good. I opened this box from my at the time girlfriend, and It
Mm-hmm.
was a nice new shirt. I like it. Uh, a nice
Nice.
new Carhartt hat right there, right there. Where all the kids like what all
Nice.
the kids like,
You love.
and then a small box of handmade Star Wars hot chocolate bombs. And I
No
knew then,
way.
and I knew then, okay, I didn't try to show it too hard, but I knew then. I was like, yep, I think I've seen all I need to see. Make appropriate
She
budget.
passed the interview process.
Make appropriate budget adjustments so we can get a ring by spring, and we'll proceed. So that's what I did, and it was even affirmed in 2022 on our wedding day when, and I've shown this before on my podcast.
It's so cool.
The Eternal Oath. She got me a custom-made MTG card with our engagement photo on it, a legendary enchantment. When it comes into play, enchanted rings are exchanged between two players. Two humans become bonded for life. They remain bonded until either human dies. This enchantment is indestructible. So listen, I knew between those two things that like, oh, this is the one because I've never felt so seen. I've never felt so understood. I've never felt so like dramatically Nathan Porter can be Nathan Porter for as long as we're married. I knew that in this
awesome.
gift, and I felt that I trended towards that, and even the Star Wars stuff. So like, sorry for getting too sentimental, but like, listen, that's the whole point of nerds, right? Is like we just want to be ourselves. We just want to like do our thing. We just want to hang out with other nerds, talk about nerd stuff all day long, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that. So that is my number 3. Is just how incredibly blessed I am to be married to this woman who lets me be a nerd. That's my number 3 nerdy thing of the year.
Love it.
And I'm a mic drop and pass the turn. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna really quickly, just to make sure I'm safeguarded, I'm gonna cast Dragon Lord Dromoka, which means players can't cast spells on my turn.
Oh, wow.
So just gonna play that because I was gonna do I didn't this because we, by the way, I want to preface this real quick. We don't share with each other what we're gonna talk about.
Correct.
So the fact that your final one was emotional, my final one was gonna be emotional as well.
Bring it. But I can't interact.
You can't interact.
Go for it.
I'm just saying, keep your spells to yourself. I also have 1 blue mana floating for an off. Can't refuse. So I'm just saying, you can try. You can try me, but I'm loaded.
I got nothing.
So 2021 was the year my son was born.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I've always wanted to be a dad, and being a dad has been one of the coolest, most amazing honors of my entire life. If you are a married husband, Porter, be a dad. It's the coolest thing on the planet. And before my son was born, I was like, I'm a big video game guy, and I was like, the weeks leading up, I finished the God of War 2018, and I loved it. And I was like, this is going to set me up to be a dad, kind of a thing. And it's this really emotional experience of like the story of God of War. Like, go look it up, the 2018 version, but it is such a beautiful story about a father and a son connecting and going on this epic journey together. And then over this past year and a half of his life, now he's almost 2 years old. He's a year and 8 months. God of War Ragnarok came out. And I feel like as a dad, I feel like I'm settling into dad life. I mean, you're always learning, you're always growing as a dad. But I've never had a game touch me in such an emotional way and spur me on to be a better dad than God of War Ragnarok.
Wow.
I found myself bawling my eyes out during side quests. I found for like a small 10-minute side quest, I found myself having to put my controller down and wipe my eyes because I couldn't see the screen anymore. It is such a beautiful and well done game. Like, if you don't have a PS5, buy a PS5 just to play this game. Like, watching it doesn't do any justice. You have to play it.
Wow.
Like, there's no new game plus, but I've played this game twice already. It is so emotionally moving. Story writing, the attention to detail, they were like, the way I watched every video on the making of this game, the director of the game was like, he's like, what if he built a good game and then wrote a beautiful story around that? And that was his premise. He was like, yeah, we're not trying to make money off this. I want to make a phenomenal game and then write an amazing story around it. And it just, I mean, it didn't win Game of the Year, but it definitely won more titles and awards than the Game of the Year won.
Wow.
And
I
I
did
can't say
clean
enough
up.
about it.
It did do well, yeah.
It So I'm planning on getting a God of War Ragnarok tattoo
Let's
that
go.
involves me and my son. And so, but that's all. Like, that's my number one thing. Besides that, the no build mode on Fortnite. That's just
That's an
one of the
answer
top three
to
gaming
our
experiences of all
generation's
time.
prayers, is what that is.
That is 100% true. That
Oh
is, as
man.
me as a millennial gamer, I'm like, please just give me a shot. I've been loving it, and it's reignited my love for battle royales because I'm sick of getting beamed on Apex. So
Amen. Amen. So I've got it like in our one thing I just want to shout out real quick, because Mason is not on the podcast. It would be traumatic for us not to say what I would guess would be his number one, which is that Overwatch 2 came out. That guy loves Overwatch more than any person loves a video game I've ever seen.
it's so true.
I
He's
will
put
be playing
so
with
many
him.
hours into that.
I'll be playing with him, and
Yeah.
he'll just be like randomly like, you see that poster there? Like, what are you talking about? That poster there on the wall, it means this. And I'm just like, who knew someone could know that much about the lore of a video game? It's Mason saying.
And while he's
he
explaining
loves
that to
video game.
you, while he's explaining to you, he's getting like 20 kills.
Yeah, he's popping off. So I wanted to say that. Now, so we had it in their notes to like also talk about our 3 like negative things of the year. And
Yeah.
while that is in our notes, for time's sake, I want to keep moving into something just in touch on. Jared, give me a perception check.
Ooh. Do I have any bonuses or just the I'm a standard human, so I actually know it's a flat roll?
I would say you have advantage.
Okay, good, because I rolled a 2.
Okay, go ahead.
That is a 16.
16. All right. So you and your friends, your party before you, with a 16, you see it. The BBEG, the big, bad,
no.
evil guy. And it turns out, as a plot twist, it was the Wizards of the Coast all along. Listen, guys, if you're any kind of Dungeons and Dragons fan, you have been hip to all the videos, all the content coming out about
All of them.
Wizards coming out with the open game license revision 1.1, which is crazy talk for what it was supposed to be. Dungeons and Dragons is always supposed to be an open source. They're basically wanting to say, we want to restrict some of that open source. We want to make sure if you're making a lot of money off of content and lore that we created in the beginning at $750,000, we start taking a cut from that. You have to sign this in order to use content at all. We can change these rules anytime we want. And last but not least, if you create something using Dungeons and Dragons, it belongs to us. Anything like money or profit or advertising to be made off of that belongs to us. Those are the four big ones. And Wizards has been quiet. They have been silent. And just today, and this is why I want to bring it up, supposedly there's a second leak from an employee on the inside who says, I'm sending this message because I fear for the health of a community I love, and I know that the leaders of WotC are looking at. Here's what they are looking at. They are briefly delaying the rollout of OGL due to backlash. Their decision making is based entirely on provable impact to the bottom line, which is money. Specifically, they are looking at the DDB or D&D Beyond subscriptions, the cancellations, as it is the quickest financial data they currently have. They are hoping the community forgets, moves on, and still joins through this. This is an unconfirmed leak, obviously, because it's a leak.
Right.
It could very much well just be released by someone hoping to continue to fan the flame of people canceling D&D Beyond subscriptions as a way to clap back. But it is still disturbing. I've talked a lot about this. Jared, I would love to hear your thoughts.
It's funny because like the 3 of my we think 2022 were the precursors of this.
That's funny. Mine was going to be the
Big,
Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas episode because that was complete trash.
oh,
But you go ahead.
yeah, no, that was garbage. It was a dumpster fire, and then someone peed in the dumpster fire and lit it again. Uh, no, I mean, so like the precursors with the overabundance of Magic, Magic the Gathering, because if you don't know this, Wizards of the Coast owns Magic the Gathering, right?
Yep.
So like the overabundance of sets, this is the fastest rotating standard we've ever had. Modern is becoming almost a rotating format, which is crazy. Just the fact that and how the customer's been being treated. Mark Rosewater has kind of just treated us like, hey, if you don't like it, just follow the things you do like, and it's whatever. And it's like, oh, like we're the ones providing income for you, and you are providing. It's just there's this exchange here. It's just mutual respect, and we're not receiving any respect. And I really, really feel like it's continued with this OGL. It's sad. It's greedy. It's inappropriate. I was telling my wife about this, and she goes, "They don't care." She was the most heartless thing she's ever said. She's like, it's a whole bunch of white collar guys from Hasbro that do not care about your feelings. They just want more cash flow
Yep.
because somebody from Wizards of the Coast was like, hey, Critical Role has hit this landmark. And some white collar guy from Hasbro was like, oh, they're making a ton of money off this. Why can't we? Because Hasbro is a dying company.
Yep.
So here's my thoughts, though. All of my thoughts have been said by every single other Magic or every single other company. It sucks that we could be possibly affected by this, depending on how big we get if this happens. It sucks that Kickstarters are already being affected by this. It sucks that like that leak from that person may or may not be real because Wizards of the Coast is the leakiest company on the planet. Like they're not watertight. They leak cards, leak sets, they leak everything all the time, and it's just advertisement plays, right?
Yep.
My biggest thing is this is a question I have for you. And I saw this and I had this thought today with the whole unsub from D&D Beyond. That is a good metric. It's a good metric. It's a good way to kind of like use your voice is to unsub, right? The biggest thing I would say to that is if they say, you know what, hey, we messed up, we're going to reel it back a little bit. At this point, do you believe that D&D is too far gone? Like, will it survive?
Wow, that's a good question. I love analogies. Here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a board state. Right. They have cards in hand and untapped mana.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to play my cards until I think I can make a safe play. Until the last possible second. Maybe on their end step. Maybe in their second main. Maybe if they go to combat and make a mistake, then I'll react and I'll interact with that. But right now, I've got untapped mana and I've got cards in hand too. They're not very strong, but they do a few things. That's all what Magic the Gathering is you want to play cards that do things. So here's the point I'm trying to make. They are a big company and they are run by people who probably don't play D&D. And somewhere along the line, somebody said exactly what you said. Wait, they're making how much money off of something that's technically ours? That can't be right. That's not right. We need to be tapping into that.
Right.
I mean, I guess I can kind of see the point there, and don't, blow my DMs up for that. But I will just say the problem is D&D was meant to be that. So you can't really be mad at D&D for being what it's meant to be. And
right
now, here's a couple of things that we're still seeing. We've seen all this come at the beginning of the year. The Dungeons and Dragons movie is supposed to come out. It's my understanding. Shoot, who is it? It's not HBO. Someone's ordered an 8-episode series of Dungeons and Dragons from
that is true.
WotC, Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
Speaking of Brendan Lee Mulligan, he rolled out, according to plan, his next adventure for podcasting D&D, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So he's not scared.
Right.
they put a lot of time invested in that. If you look at it, their calendars flows through June on the website
Yeah,
for this new
they're ready to
project.
roll. It's crazy.
So here's what I see. I see either the big cheeses, the people who are driving this engine of how cool D&D is, Critical Role, Dimension 20, people like that. Either they know something we don't know, or two, they don't care and are going to continue to make
Right.
content.
Right.
This will not kill tabletop live action role playing games. Whether or not they're called
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons, we will see. My friend David Stout built an artificial intelligence company. He's literally a genius. His co-founder is actually one of my DMs that runs a game that I attend.
Mm-hmm.
He's often said that circumstance will force innovation.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that in COVID. We saw that several times throughout history. So will this circumstance force an absolute bombshell of tabletop RPGs? Probably. We've seen them in Kickstarters. We saw the Avatar one be a Kickstarter. We saw a couple other ones. Cobalt Press has been like, they are a notable writing D&D group, and they said, well, fine, we'll make our own. They're not even waiting around.
Yep.
Some of these companies that
They just
have
are.
enough pull aren't going to wait around for an answer. They're already upset that this was even considered. They're just making their own thing.
They're like, we're out.
We're out.
Yeah.
Whether or
Dude,
not,
it's funny that you said that because my next question was like, do you believe this opens the door for the next RPG? That was my next question.
I think it drop kicks the door down. I think they could just say,
Dude,
you know what?
oh my gosh.
We were wrong, and enough wheels have already started spinning. Enough homebrew class type people have decided to make their own everything. The engine's already, it's too late. The creative energy's already there.
Yeah.
That will not just disappear if they said, we're sorry, we take it back. The creative energy that inertia has already been set in motion. That's going to happen. We will have more diverse and different tabletop RPGs probably, and we'll start seeing them hit in maybe 2 to 3 years. Some of the companies will do it very well. They will take their time. Other companies will just try to beat everyone to market, and maybe those won't be as good. But you just look at board games. That's like the inventor of board games saying, like, anyone who ever makes a board game ever again,
Right.
anyone who ever plays this type of board game now has to do it our way. And people being like, no, we're just going to make different board games.
Yeah, we'll make our own.
Oh,
Dude,
well, shucks, we never
messed
thought of
up.
that.
It's so stupid. It's like one of those things where it's like, I hope that like they're in like conference meetings of like, man, we really just we crossed the line for the last time. I feel like
overall the community's been pretty good. I think it is one thing too we really have to grasp and remember is there's real people, ordinary people who just walked in.
Right.
Someone just runs the Twitter, someone just runs the Facebook, someone just runs normal things and walked into an absolute dumpster fire Monday morning. And they can't talk about anything, and they're asking their boss what is going on, and their boss doesn't know either. And that boss is asking their boss, and it goes all the way up. And it's just not going to work. It's not going to – you can't just be mad at the guy in the bottom. Just like sometimes you get really crappy fries. And it is what it is. Or McDonald's ups the price on French fries. They're $6, $7, $10, $20 for a large fry. That's not the guy serving you the fries' fault. That's the way it is.
Right.
So,
it's like yelling at the guy handing you.
Exactly. So
no, I think it's one of the things where it's like, it's an unfortunate thing. I think Wizards is learning a really big lesson. Even if they do go forward with this, like, it's really terrible. It's really ugly. And it's just sad. I mean, this doesn't affect the casual weekly night pod.
Yep.
But it affects those medium range. It won't affect Critical Role. It won't affect those big guys who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. They'll pay their cuts and call it a day, right? Or the next TTRPG will come out and they'll just switch to that, and then Wizard of the Coast will be sitting over in the corner and be like, maybe we did something wrong here, right?
Yep.
My next question for you is, how do you think this will affect the D&D movie like coming out? Like,
I'm gonna.
do you think it's gonna get
Here's what I'll say.
boycotted?
Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna go see it. Why am I gonna go see it?
I'm gonna go see it
Same
too.
exact reason. Those actors had nothing to do with this. They
You're
put
100%
time
correct.
and their energy and their talent into making a fun and entertaining film, and just because the company they eventually worked for, like technically
Right.
licensed or whatever, made it a dumpster fire. That's not their fault. They still need to get paid. They probably killed it. That cast is stacked, and
It's fire.
they're just playing the game, and that's the thing. If all this happens, right, and they roll it out, and Matt Mercer says, "Hey, is it Thursday yet? We're just rolling regular." We can't be mad at them because there is a game
Right.
you can play. You can't make over $750,000. Well, guess what?
Right.
These people have put themselves in a position where they can play the game. Fine, they can make 600.
Right.
They can make $749,000. They can pour money
Right.
into things. They can take the losses. When the people we're mad at, you know how we're always mad at politicians because they know how to play the game and Trump never paid taxes or whatever. That's because there's a system at play, and if you know how to play it, you can get away with a lot of nonsense as far as taxes
Oh,
and
for sure.
and monies go. Monies is the rat race is a crazy game, and there are people like Critical Role who have teams that are more than equipped to play those games without
Right.
being part of the big bad machine. And we can't,
Right.
the little people, we can't feel like, oh, they betrayed us. When we all unsubscribe from D&D Beyond, they keep promoting it. Yeah, it's a sponsor of theirs. That's how they make money.
Yeah.
That's how they feed their
Right.
families.
They're
Like,
just normal people.
they're
Yeah.
just normal people, and they're taking money, and guess what? They're funneling it into their system so they can keep making content, so they can make a living. And I think they'll be smart enough to fly under radars that WotC tries to like chain them with. They might not produce third-party content with them again, third-party publishing, but
Cool.
if they do, like, what do I care? Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
They got to make decisions that's right for them, and I can't
Right.
hold that against them unless it's, unless they're like literally like, I don't know, kidnapping people, stealing their ideas, and throwing me into Exandria.
Right. No, I agree. That was really well said. Like, don't bite the hand. Like, that's just like, I don't know. I think in the reality, it's like, it's even the timing of it all, right? Like, you can tell that this is from a person who doesn't play the game, who doesn't understand the community. You can tell this is somebody from higher up in Hasbro, not from Wizards of the Coast. It's just Hasbro,
Yep.
right? Who owns Wizards of the Coast. Because this is the worst timing on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie comes out in a few months. They're right on the verge of a launch of a new set coming out for Magic the Gathering.
Mhm.
They just launched Dragonlance, like the new module that came out. It's like, this was one of the worst timings you could ever have done this. And yes, there's a leak, but I guarantee, dude, I'm so sick of being like, people are like, oh, these things have leaked from Wizards of the Coast. It's done on purpose. It's not leaked.
Yeah.
It's done on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Come on now. That was to test the water on it, and they realized it's a terrible idea.
The water is not
They're
safe.
two, dude. The two videos that they put out about it, their responses to our fans, they've been taken down. They deleted the videos. They're like, oh no, that's a bad idea. Oh, that was a better response. They Logan Paul'd it. Like, it's just, it's so bad. And I guess my final question to you is: do you think this will have any effect on D&D 1?
What? What the heck is that? What is that thing? What? Nobody cares anymore. Any positive buzz they created over D&D 1 has been toilet flushed down the pooper, spinning whatever direction from wherever country you're from, because this thing is literally worldwide. Because you are gonna be like, imagine Jared. I came to you and I said, Jared, making your birthday present. Really excited for it.
Sick.
What's your favorite color? What's your favorite class? I'm gonna make you this sick, epic D&D related thing. You're gonna like it. I want your feedback on it.
Right.
Right. Also, frick you and everything that you like about D&D. I don't care about it. I will like $750,000 now, please. They're like, what? What? No, I don't care about.
It's so bad.
Yeah, but 6 months ago we were talking about cool background changes. Nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
We're like, oh,
Nobody
I'm really
cares.
glad that, um, you know, your background actually affects some of the roles you do now. That's really great. Except no one's ever gonna roll a D&D character ever again. We're just gonna roll whatever. We're gonna roll whatever the Project Cobalt or Cobalt Press make because
Cobalt Press does,
they
yeah.
don't hate us.
They don't hate us. They actually really like us and respect us.
Yes. My question to you is similar, and as a D&D player, maybe you pivot,
Yeah.
maybe you cancel your subscription or not. How are you at all worried that this affects Magic the Gathering?
Mm.
Because initially, one of the
Uh,
things, like you said,
yeah.
that fueled this was the overall assessment of how Wizards of the Coast handles thing. Their stock was valued, and it was valued lower than what Hasbro was
Right.
anticipating, and a lot of people would have liked to see from Hasbro. They attributed that to overprinting cards,
Yep.
how they rolling out Wizards of the Coast was rolling out Magic the Gathering content. So maybe there's some correlation
Right.
here. Do you think it's going to affect Magic at all?
Yes, it'll affect Magic because I think obviously their stock price is going to plummet. I feel like you're going to see a lot of set cancellations, or postponements. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if like that Lord of the Rings set that's coming out next year or this year
No.
in the spring
Don't say
gets
it.
pushed.
Stop.
To be honest, like I'm just saying, like unless no, I mean they'll probably keep that because it'll be a big money grab for 'em. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see like the Ixalan set get pushed and like the Eldraine set get pushed. Like the reality is like they were showing their hand that they don't care about customers and how the customer's being treated, right? Because they were just throwing sets at the wall and their prices were increasing for cards. Single prices were increasing in some ways and dropping in other ways because nobody was able to buy packs fast enough to even keep up with the market. Standard is a dead set is a dead uh,
Format, yeah.
format because you can't keep up with it. It's the fastest it's ever rotated. Um, Modern, they're contemplating making it a rotating set. Modern is supposed to be an eternal set. What the heck?
Yeah.
Like now they're splitting Modern into two. Like it is one of the most. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
like it is. You know what it is?
What is it?
It's calamity. It's calamity. It's the end of an age of Arcanum.
Fire.
It's what it is. I mean, like they got too full of themselves. They got too full of what they were doing, and they took their customers for granted. They towed the line and they pushed it too far.
Yeah.
And
And it's going
in
to be really
reality, I
interesting.
mean, like, yeah,
It's going to be interesting to see.
I
I don't know what's going
it's
to
gonna be
happen.
interesting to see. Yeah, I don't
I,
know what's gonna happen either. I know that like things will probably change magic wise because I mean, Wizards of the Coast. That's one of their big subsidiary things, right? Is Magic the Gathering. Um, it was already frustrating to keep up with. It was frustrating to watch Mark Rosewater, the guy who's the head over Magic the Gathering, right? His response on his blog talk to some of the questions people were asking him, like, hey, like, one of the questions I saw from the commander's quarters, he was talking about this, was the guy was saying, the question was asked, he goes, how do I keep up with such a fast rotating, all these new cards, all these new products coming out? I feel like I can't keep up with them. Like game night, the 5 deck or 6 deck set that came out, there's 60 cards in each deck.
yep.
It's supposed to be this really fun thing to have at your house. I wanted one, but I didn't know it launched. I had no clue because I was trying to keep up with everything else.
Yeah.
And you look at Magic the Gathering YouTube channels, and like MTG Goldfish, they're getting burnt out. Like places like Commander's Quarters can't keep up. Command Zone is like, yeah, we're kind of done doing set reviews. Like
Yep.
we'll review 4 or 5 cards from a set, but that's it. Like
Yeah.
they just can't keep up. And so you're going to see a lot of burnout and a lot of
Yeah.
less coverage, and you're going to see a lot of single prices skyrocket because there's not enough packs being opened, and a lot of sets probably being pushed. So that's my opinion. That's how I think it's going to affect Magic.
That I like that take. I attribute it really similar to when all of a sudden the video game industry went from give us a finished product game that will entertain me for 6 months to
Mhm.
a free to play. I need new content every 2 weeks format.
Mm-hmm.
The demand did not drag and drop to tabletop trading card games.
It's so true.
They might have thought it would.
So true.
They might have thought it was going to. They maybe tried to anticipate it and stay new content, new content, new content. A kid gets
Right.
bored of Fortnite if we don't drop a new map every month and a half, or a new gun or a new skin.
Right.
Apex Legends is on the downgrade again because they haven't given them a new map or anything like that. Call of Duty, we need more. The same has to be for paper cardboard, right? I don't think it was. I think the point of Magic and any board game, any fun board game, card game, is typically you get to take your time. You get to take your time. You get to take your turn, whether it's poker, whether it's blackjack, whether it's Pokemon. You get the cool things. You get to play with your cool things for a while. So when you quickly outdate my cool things by 3 months, you make a card I pulled 3 months ago like irrelevant in the meta format.
Right.
Okay, I guess I suck again. I guess my deck sucks.
Right.
Now I'm pulling.
I guess
I'm dropping the Dark Magician while everyone else is playing. Who the heck knows what in that card game? But
right.
It's just really interesting to watch that unfold, and you're totally right. But the problem with a nerd like you and me is we could literally talk about this for hours. And hours. And we won't do that because this is an ongoing story.
Right.
And we'll watch it develop, and we'll keep an eye on it and do our best to talk about it. But we're coming
I'm gonna
right
really
up on
quick.
that. Oh,
I'm really quick. Tap 1 blue mana and cast an offer you can't refuse.
Gosh.
I'm gonna counter this not creature spell really quick. I just want to say this. My biggest crappy thing that I experienced in 2022 is the fact that I'm just now playing The Witcher 3 for the first time.
Oh.
I just want to say that I've only played like an hour of it, and I'm madly in love. It is. That's all I want to say. Like, I know a lot of the Witcher community is frustrated because they gave it a new gen upgrade, but they added no new content. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm mad that I didn't play it until now. But that was my only thing. I just want to throw that in there. That was my biggest poo-poo for 2022. But
I like it.
Other than that, my only question for you is: do you think we should become lords in Ireland? Because you can buy like a square, like a 1 foot by 1 foot square plot of land.
I'm aware. I think you do, and maybe I will use one of my 2 treasure tokens that you just gave me, casting that spell, to buy one. But the other one, I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to use. I'm going to head over to patreon.com at Nights at the Nerd Table, and I'm going to sub up for some. I mean, it's the same content. But if you like what you hear, and we do have some fun things coming towards in the Patreon. If you like what you hear, we are on Patreon. We just hyped up and talked about our awesome wives and how much they support us and let us do things like this. We would love to come back to them and say, hey, I made $4 this month from talking about stupid stuff. I will buy you one coffee, but a small one. That would be great. So if you want to check us out on Patreon, we're on YouTube, we are on Twitter. All these things you can see probably right here below me. As I edit in post. But check this out. And actually, here's what we're doing for Patreon. Yes, we want to buy our wives coffee, but more importantly, we are nerds. What do we want? We want nerds to have fun doing nerds things. Over the Christmas break, we actually got introduced to a group of nerds that participate in a small D&D group as part of an after-school program in a very, very small town in mid-Michigan. I got a chance to talk to their DM, and I said, "Hey, what do you need? What do you guys need?" He's like, "Pretty much everything." They have some dice, but they also use their dice as minis to move around the battle map, which is hard when a lot of his players seem to love a dagger, and so they can't roll the D4 if they are the D4, so it's kind of a tricky thing there. So here's what we decided to do. We said, we would love to maybe get supported by fans so we can keep doing this, but more importantly, we want to support other nerds. So here's what we said. Everything that we get from Patreon in January and February, we are going to pool that and see if we can't hook this group up with some really fun things, dice, maybe minis, whatever it is. He also said he just needs content. whether there's modules or things to play through. Like I got a chance to have a long conversation with him, and he's just doing this in his free time, and he's running a fun group, and it was really funny. He said that he's thinking now. Hopefully, they won't listen to this and get spoiled. He's thinking of leaning them towards a pirate campaign because they're all just like wild, and he's like, I think their personalities would like be good pirates, and I'm like, that's D&D. That's a bunch of teenagers getting their first hit of D&D. So how can we help them? Well, we said we'll give whatever we make in Patreon January, February right to them, or so they can get it for tools and they can buy materials. And we talked about amongst ourselves. We're gonna pull a few things that we have around and try to get them to here. But also, what's a request without some incentive? So here's what I have: 100% regift. So don't get too out of your wild mind. My friend gifted me these 3 Critical Role cozies or drink coolers. They are flavored after some common places of their frequency: the Nestle Nook Inn, Strong Jaw Ale, and the Brr Bar. All from places that Critical Role. If you want these, sign up for Patreon. I will just sign up for Patreon.
Yep.
Send me your address. I'm just going to send these to you because who doesn't love free stuff? And
so true.
At the end of the day, we just want to help nerds have fun being nerds. D&D is such a great place to feel included, to feel like you belong somewhere, and that is what's happening in this small town. The playgroup is only like 4 to 6, and they just want to play D&D. They just want to go somewhere, be nerds, and play D&D. How can we help make their experience really, really fun? So that's what we committed to. That's what we decided to do, and that's one of the ways you can help us help them. Sign up for Patreon January through February. And then cancel in March. I don't care. I'm not going to like sneak and grab and like, I'm not looking to just trick you into forgetting and just keeping, sending us money. Cancel in March. February, March. I don't care. Just let's see what we can do to put some assets together and help out this community in that way. Well, not bad, Jared. We're
couldn't agree more.
Hour.
I love it. Dude. It's a blessing to be able to do this. I think this was up there, probably number 1 on my list of things that I love doing that I love with 2022 is starting this podcast with you and Mason. I'm excited for more content. My wife just told me tonight, she was like, why aren't you guys recording once a week? I think you guys should record once a week. And my wife is amazing. So thank you, Amanda. If you ever listen to this.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always shout out Megan, but in the back of my head, I'm like, she's not going to.
She's not gonna take the time.
If it's not in the first 3 to 4 minutes,
it's not happening. Yeah. It's not happening.
But we love you.
We appreciate you, audience, also listening. You guys listen there. Share with your friends. Like, people are more nerdy than you think they are.
Yep.
So, don't be ashamed of being a nerd. Don't be ashamed of playing TTRPGs or trading card games or video games or art or music. Or liking movies
or reading books.
I will say this. Porter doesn't know about this, but I'm planning another podcast video for Patreon content and Patreon content only about movie reviews with a good friend of ours named Parker King, who is a avid movie enthusiast.
A full send.
Be ready for that.
You have my creative blessing endorsement. That guy.
Perfect. Because you're in it. So,
yeah, good. Because honestly, most of his takes are complete trash, and I love to dissect them. So let's get into it.
He's a scientific specimen.
He's a savage.
I want to show our community this man. So, with that being said, appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we do. Thank you so much for joining us here at the table. We are the Knights at the Nerd Table. We'll see you next time right here. Until then, good night, nerds.